I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about beginnings can explain endings.
Ooh, we're getting philosophical here. Before we begin, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation one-on-one with us, you can head to our website and go from there.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we don't really think about enough is how we start our relationship with somebody else. A lot of times we ignore the red flags in the beginning, and ignoring those things, it's really gonna be problematic. It doesn't feel like it in the beginning when you're stuck in the lust stage and you're so excited about dating somebody new. But then when you're having to trust this person all of a sudden and the lust isn't as strong, now you're not going to really trust this person because maybe they were dating somebody else when you met and they were cheating on their boyfriend with you or their girlfriend with you. And so now you're like, wait a minute, this person's a cheater. So how can I trust them? Or how they end their last relationship. They often make their previous partner look like a villain. And so they make it seem like, oh, this partner was so terrible and neglectful, and they give this whole side of the story, and you see that other partner as like this terrible villain. And so you're like, but so I'm okay with how poorly they're treating this other person. But you have to think about it, because if they're going to do that to them, when things get tough with you, they can do those very same things.
Right. And a lot of times we justify it because of the affection and attention that we're getting from this person. So we think, well, it's in our benefit right now, immediately, to ignore these red flags and continue in this relationship because it feels good, because my unmet needs are getting met. And so we are easy to bypass some very serious things that we see and hear for the sake of what we think is love. And a lot of times once time passes, you know, it becomes clearer and clearer this person's intentions for us. We become a little bit more grounded. We feel a little bit more secure in their love. And then we start to feel a lot more insecure in their love as a result. You know, we start to look at those other things. Well, wait a minute. What's really going on here? What's really going on in their life? Are they going to be a consistent partner? Are they going to be reliable? What about these other things that they've said and they've done? So we start to look more closely at who they are as time passes, and almost as we become a bit more accustomed to their affection.
So you got to be aware of the red flags from the get-go, and also within yourself, because you got to think about, oh, are you treating the partner you're ending the relationship with love and respect and some kindness and stuff like that? Are you cheating on them for months before you leave your partner to go with somebody new? A lot of people will do stuff like that. Okay, so let's get into this email coaching. They said, hi, Coach Craig. My name is, give a name.
Abraham.
Abraham. Abraham is in their mid-20s, and they are with their girlfriend, Abrahama. No, give another name.
Let's say Luce.
Luce. Okay. Do you know something about this story that I don't? Luce.
L-U-Z?
Luce.
Like light?
Luce?
In Spanish? No, Luce. Okay.
I just want to call her Luce because you haven't even read this coaching. Let's see if she's right.
No, everybody named Luce who's watching this right now is hating this joke that they probably heard a million times.
How about Lucy?
Okay.
All right.
Lucy.
All right.
Lucy.
Abraham and Lucy, right? It was Abraham, right?
It was Abraham.
Okay. Well, you gave the names.
Don't let me give the names.
I don't think I should. All right. So they Lucy broke up with him in the beginning of April after about a year together. They met as co-workers in the summer of 2022, and they started dating in May of the following year. Our story had a really turbulent beginning because at the time I was in another relationship. So Abraham was loose. We got their names backwards, apparently. That wasn't working out, and I'm not proud of it. I started developing feelings for Lucy and ended up cheating on my girlfriend with her. A huge mistake I made was not taking time to be on my own and process my previous relationship, and immediately jumped into a new one with Lucy.
Well, there's that, but there's also that big communication and transparency piece, which is so hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
not easy.
It sounds like he's really struggled with communicating his concerns with his relationship. It sounds like he really struggled with communicating his feelings for someone new with his partner before anything has happened. So, you know, yes, it's about processing that past relationship, but it's also about communication skills here. If we just look at the bare bones of this, you know, he wasn't being honest with his past partner.
Yep, and he knows it. He feels bad.
Mm-hmm.
After the breakup, I've been asking myself if she was just a rebound, but I realized I truly love her and I want to make things work with her. Me and Lucy were loving, caring, and really supportive towards each other, but really different. Different views and ideals, different ways of living our lives, so different that we would constantly bicker about small things. So I'm guessing also anxious and avoidant. Every fight felt like the end of the relationship to me. All of this made me feel really insecure because I had always had the fear that there was someone out there that could make her happier. That's low self-esteem there, right? That one day she would realize I'm not what she needs. A lot of people are afraid of that. What do you think? So far, who feels avoidant, him or her? Hard to say, right?
It's hard to say. I would say some of the comments he made sounds more like an avoidant attachment to me.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm not deserving of this. She could do better. Those types of comments.
Let's see what happens here. And she was devastated about it because she couldn't promise me that she would never leave me because she didn't know what the future holds. Oh, this is a big issue right here. This is a big one, okay? So he's constantly looking for reassurance. And she's saying, hang on, I don't want to promise you that I'm never going to leave you. That feels like pressure to her.
Yeah, so now it's sounding more of the opposite, that he might be more anxious, maybe having that low self-esteem, saying, I want you to stay in this relationship because I don't know if I could do better. And she's saying, well, I can't promise anything because I'm not, you know, a psychic. I can't see into the future, and I'm not sure, you know, if one day my independence will sweep me away from you.
Let's see what happens. I now realize it was a clash between my anxious and her avoidant attachment style and really poor communication between us. At the beginning of 2023, our honeymoon phase started to end and the real challenges arise. And this is why you have to work on your attachment issues, everybody. If you don't, these things are going to come up. I'm telling you, if you don't do the work, it's going to come back to get you, either with your ex or with somebody new. Our fights got more frequent, and we were soon confronted by who the other person truly was instead of the idealized version of them we were attracted to at the beginning. And this is always happening with all people when they're first dating someone new. So you got to be aware of this. I think her avoidant attachment style made her bottle her feelings up because one day she confessed that she had never been at peace with the way our relationship started and with hurtful things that I said during our fights months earlier.
Wow.
So this kind of feels to me like her attraction level had dropped, and so now the things that only kind of bothered her before are really bothering her.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it sounds like in the past she was able to ignore it enough, but now that the bickering is happening, you know, now that the relationship is a bit more established, she's starting to realize more and more what's actually happened. And sometimes when we are detached from our own mistakes, we are able to see it from a different light. We're able to see really how we've impacted people and the hurt that we may have caused, versus being, right after it's happened, we're justifying it in our mind, we're trying not to think about it, we're trying to move on and brush it aside. So now some time has passed, she might have matured throughout the relationship as well, and looked back and realized, okay, this is not really how I would have wanted this relationship to start. Am I okay with this? Is this something that I can accept and live with?
Yeah, I think that because he was pressuring her for, can you tell me that you're never going to leave me? That she started to lose attraction, and now these other complaints are going to be the excuses she gives to leave. But let's see. Or at least part of it. My anxiety made me feel even more insecure, and I was always causing drama that neither of us handled properly. So that anxiety, like I talk about, makes you lose emotional self-control, angry, aggressive, manipulative, all those things. In the 2 months before our breakup, she started to get cold and distant. Uh-oh. She told me she was feeling confused about her feelings towards me. Starting to feel like there's another guy in the picture. Let's see. I'm not sure yet, but I'm starting to wonder, right? When we were together, I felt her being emotionally distant, and I even felt her body rejecting me. I think all the issues and my poorly handled anxiety made her lose attraction towards me. Well, I would definitely say that's true. When she broke up with me, she was devastated and cried the whole time. I didn't fight her decision, and I didn't beg her to stay. The reason she gave me was, my feelings changed. I'm sorry. I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. So to me, that feels a lot like the smothering, the anxiety, the please don't ever leave me. Are you always going to be here for me? And she's saying, I don't know what the future holds. She was feeling pressured, and I think she lost the attraction.
Well, and we also talk about that dynamic with the avoidance, with those with more avoidant attachment styles, is when there is something in the way of that closeness, they're able to be in that type of a situation for longer. So in the beginning, there was that girlfriend, there might have been some residual guilt, whatever it may be, that created a bit of a wedge between the two of them. Now it's just him and her. And that can create an intensity that wasn't there before.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. The whole dynamic changed. I let her go, telling her I was proud of her for doing what she felt was best for her and wishing her well. After the breakup, I made a couple of breakup mistakes. A week after our breakup, I wrote her a letter in which I opened my heart to her. Don't open your heart, close your heart, and close the letter. Close the heart, close the letter.
And we're saying that because at this point she's decided to end the relationship. She's made it very clear to you. It's really just about respecting her boundaries and her space. Now we know that you have so much to share, and it's very cathartic to write out this letter, and we really think that it's going to be this big monumental moment where it's going to change everything, but it does not work out that way a lot of times. Yeah.
I understand the idea and the feelings behind it. It's just that when you've been doing things like as long as I have, I know that it just oftentimes, they often don't say anything to it. That's probably the biggest thing, is they say nothing to it. And that's that makes you feel a little worse. Sometimes they'll say something, but most of the times you don't hear any response. Okay. I opened my heart to her and told her that I understood and respect her decision, and thanked her for loving me and for our time together, and I wished nothing but the best for her. Her reaction was good, and she thanked me for the letter. That gives off a vibe of like he gave it to her in person, doesn't it? As opposed to mailing it or something. A week after that, my self-control got really weak. I felt like there were more things I have to get off my chest. That second handwritten letter, you gotta send two. If one doesn't work, you double down. I joke, but you see, his anxiety said, I gotta send her, I gotta tell her all this stuff, I'll feel better. Then he did it, and here he is a week later, wanting to do the same thing. So it just goes to show you, even though you think you're gonna feel better, you're not. because he's still there again. So I felt like there were more things I had to get off my chest. So I texted her. I didn't beg her. I just asked her if she really thought we did everything we could if we didn't give up too soon. She told me that she was sorry and that she can't control her feelings. I told her it was okay, but I reminded her that I was letting her go because she had the right to her freedom. But I wouldn't have given up on us. We already know that. You sent her a letter. You sent her a text. You're standing in front of her house with a boombox. She knows you weren't going to give up on her. Now that I look at it, it sounds really manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I get it. We got to joke about it. Sometimes we got to laugh about it because we've all been there. I've been there. I've openly talked about the grand gesture that I did. Right? On the same day, we gave each other a small update about our lives, and I ended up opening my heart and going on a rant again. Is this the third time? Sounds like it.
Yeah, it does sound like their letter, the text, and now this rant.
Yep. Again, I never begged her. I mean, this is borderline begging. Or asked her to rethink her decision. I just told her that I missed her and that despite our breakup, I would always be here for her. Wished her well again and told her that for my well-being, I needed to stop talking to her. Every time I reached out to her after our breakup, she was a little distant but always understanding and gentle. That's just because she's a really kind person. Well, that's nice to hear. I do like to hear that. I've been in no contact for a month now, and I deleted her from all my social media because seeing her is not healthy for me right now. I'm going to therapy, learning about attachment styles, and trying to put my life together and focusing on personal growth. It's been really tough. I don't know what the future holds for me. As of now, I want another chance with her, to be a good partner and to do the things the right way, but sometimes I feel like all the mistakes I've made, both during and after the relationship, completely burned my chances. Regardless of what happens, I want to be the best version of myself and for whoever comes along in my life. I hope it's with her because I want another chance to love her properly and be happy with her. I need your honest professional opinion, coach, on how to focus on personal growth and hopefully get another chance with her. Greetings from Italy. Well, obviously, the Creative Healing course, there's nothing like it. And it's all focused on helping people get through a breakup. There are a lot of art therapy activities that we designed to people going through this. You're going to learn about attachment theory. You're going to see fun little cartoons where we did all the voices. Where you're going to see all the lots of scenarios that you have with partners that cause fights and breakups and reflective questions that go with it. So obviously, you can check out all the stuff that's in the course and the workbooks. It's all very helpful to you. Therapy is helpful. Watching the videos, really educating yourself and thinking about where you made mistakes and how you can do things differently the next time around.
Yeah. And also taking a good hard look at what has happened here, who has been affected all throughout the way. You know, it sounded like...
The mailman. He was tired of sending all those letters.
Yeah, the mailman was like...
Not another letter!
But thinking about from the very beginning, I think this reflection is going to include processing that initial relationship, which you had mentioned there, that you didn't feel like you had processed that enough. I think that's really important, just to be very real with where you were at the time. And it sounds like some of those elements might still be here now. You know, there was something pulling you back, but you wanted to pursue that relationship. And now what's pulling you back quite literally here is the breakup itself, you know, and you're still pining after her, still anxious about it, still your focus is on making things work with her, rather than thinking, okay, well, what were some of those underlying patterns here that caused this separation, that caused this breakup?
He's starting to see some of it. You could see some of it coming through. You could see little glimpses of it in there. That I think he's getting some insight in there for sure.
Yeah.
But like we talked about in the beginning, the beginnings really can help you understand the endings. Like the way this began, unfortunately, caused your partner to be frustrated or disappointed or really realize, you know, I don't like the way things started here. And when attraction went away and she lost attraction, she was like using that as a reason to get out of this. Now there are all sorts of ways these things can happen. Like if things are started on cheating and lying or whatever, sometimes it's with the other person. They were cheating and lying with their partner, and then they come to you and they look like they're going to be great with you, and then they're cheating and lying to you at the end.
Well, here I'm seeing towards the end, there's a bit of him crossing some of her boundaries here too. She said that she wanted to end the relationship. You have sent the letter, you sent the text, you ranted to her again. So at this point, it's really about creating that space and showing, okay, I can handle myself emotionally here. And a question that I have for you that really is a challenging one is, can you be alone? Can you be able to be alone? Because it sounded like you transitioned from that relationship to this one, and now that this one's gone, it's almost like you're left empty-handed. And so
he could still hold the letter.
He could still hold the letter.
Don't mail it.
But it's important to find something, you know, to create something to grab onto, meaning being able to have that social support in your life, being able to boost up your self-esteem again, being able to depend on yourself a little bit here too. You know, it sounds like the root of a lot of this breakup was some of that anxiety, and we don't know even about that past relationship if there is an underlying thread there too of the anxiety affecting that past relationship. So a lot to uncover about yourself. You are on this journey, so that is the best thing possible, is you're becoming aware, you're asking the right questions. How do I improve? How do I fix this? And how do I move forward? So these are great questions to ask, and you know, ask them with self-compassion. And we're not saying beat yourself up and think about all the horrible things you've done and how you've treated people here, but we're saying, okay, take a look back at what was causing all of this, and maybe some of your own hurt and pain that has leaked onto some of these relationships. So just things to consider. You know, we're always trying to promote self-growth and better situations. Now, here, I think there may be a chance of hope here if you are able to give her that space. But it sounds like the two of you did have some solid things too. Really also dive into what that bickering was about. A lot of times with arguments, it seems like it's surface level, but there are, you know, maybe differences in core values, maybe it's attachment style differences.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, really try to peel the layer of the onion here and take a good look at it. My feeling is that your perception of this relationship was very different than hers.
Keep educating yourself on what we talk about with the anxious avoidant trap. And guys, understand that when we talk about the anxious avoidant trap and attachment styles, it's really just giving you some glimpses of insight into mental health. And that's why we're talking about this stuff, because mental health is really tied to having healthy, strong relationships where there's a lot of trust and people feel safe and strong connections. Because if you don't work on those issues, you wind up with a lot of breakups.
Exactly.
Okay? So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.